Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, March 12th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And if you are into Bitcoin, then stick around to the end because I will do an extra bonus chart at that point. Couple quick clarifications. Number one, that candlestick right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. Ticker symbol number one, TCBP, and a very interesting day on this one, and somewhat an ugly looking chart right now, especially if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you were buying right there, or buying right there, or buying right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes. Yeah, not so good looking. So in some ways, this is very ugly, but there can be opportunity in the ugly. And what I'm seeing here, and as always, you are more than welcome to disagree, totally fine with me, but a couple different choices. Does the price come down to this previous low from earlier on in the opening 30 minutes and get some sort of bounce? Seems like it could very well happen at this point. I mean, it's already pulled back quite a bit. So does it come down here and double bottom and get some sort of bounce? That is a more than valid question to throw out there. Of course, there's no guarantees, but that is certainly a reasonable situation to think could possibly happen. Maybe we want to be a little bit more conservative and say, no, let's see if this pullback gets even more ugly and comes down to this little clump of moving averages right here. Purple line being the 50-period moving average, pink line being the 200-period moving average. Again, nothing's guaranteed, but that is a very plausible scenario right there. The point here being is that there was a big surge of upwards momentum, but yeah, this pullback here is getting pretty intense. So does a pullback go down there and get some sort of bounce? Does it need to drop down there before it gets some sort of bounce? Maybe it never bounces at all. Of course, that's why risk management matters. But the whole idea here is that big surge of volume, pretty rough, pretty ugly looking pullback here. But again, there can be opportunity in the ugly. So if you like these sorts of scenarios, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, SOXS, and a nice mover once again today, and a nice pattern here has formed. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now, so that way we can focus on the pattern that has formed after today. And this is a pattern that I think a lot of people have noticed, so as I talk about this, I'm not trying to impress you, not trying to imply this is some secret discovery. A lot of people have seen this, and I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movement. So let's get this all changed to one color to hopefully make it easier to see. But we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big upwards move right here. We'll put the golf hole down here for you golfers to make it a little more visual. And this would be called a bull pennant pattern. So while nothing is guaranteed, is it plausible that if the price comes up here, pushes up through that level, that break in of itself, just because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, could create additional momentum? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like bull pennants, you like stocks down below the $5 mark, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, STI, and same general idea. I wouldn't call this as ugly of a pullback as that first one, but the moral of the story here is we do have a pattern because, yeah, there's been a pretty big pullback right here, but that assumes that you only care about a very narrow time frame. If you care about more of a bigger picture, you'd, of course, acknowledge, well, yeah, that's fair enough. It has pulled back. However, what was going on before this pullback? And you would say, well, the price made this explosive move up like that, which is now giving me the ability to draw this bull flag pattern. So again, it's all about perspective. If you're some sort of day trader and scalper that bought up there, wanted to buy and sell within 10 minutes, yeah, from that angle, chart looks really, really bad. But if you care about a bigger picture point of view, then you have yourself a nice bull flag pattern here. So if you like bull flags, you like stocks down below $5, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA. Very, very brutal day, especially when you factor in the context of how things started off. Nice gap up, price ran up a little bit right there, hit its high, and then from there, good example of why stop losses matter, especially if you're some sort of day trader, because if you bought up there, this thing not only dropped down to the bottom part of this channel, which I've talked about in past videos, down here at 2170, but you can see right there, broke down through it, and then as I speak right now, right at all the lows of the day and trying to push maybe even lower. So yeah, just a brutal day here for this one. Now overall, it's hanging in there from I mean, it's still up higher than where it was just from several weeks ago, but nonetheless, this narrow this channel here that I've been talking about and we've been tracking, we finally got our answer, and it's the bears ultimately went out and down it's gone. And now it's just a question of can the price try to recover, and that's where our first update, and this update is just based on a foundational rule and chart which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and that is where 2170 comes into play now, because if this does try to curl back around, that'll be the initial question mark, whether or not the price can get back above that area, and if it does, that at least puts it back inside of this channel, but it would not be shocking at all to see the price potentially bounce back up and then get rejected back downwards. But with this one, it's been strong, but right now you're definitely got to start to give the edge more to the bears, because this was a pretty significant move, especially technically speaking, for the bears. Not like just kind of break that level, but that is a full-blown breakdown of that area. It's not anywhere close to it anymore. And like I said, as I speak right now, it's pushing down even lower. So yeah, definitely the bears picked up a big victory today. Next one here, AMC, and I would consider today a good solid day, and the reason for that was because it sure did have a lot of downwards pressure on Friday. Headed into today, it was a very valid question to say, you know what, is this $4.20 mark level going to get just absolutely destroyed? That seemed possible, and but started off today, nice opening 30 minutes, and then from today, just consolidate. So it's not like it was an explosively bullish day, but just the fact that it at least went sideways after so much downwards pressure on Friday is a step in the right direction. Now, there's still more work that needs to be done, and mainly that quote-unquote work revolves around these moving averages right there, which you now know. Again, pink line 200 paired moving average, purple line 50 paired moving average. So if the price does try to come back upwards, it's still got to, contest with those to try to break above and stay above them. So keep that in mind. So I don't want to make it seem like today was some sort of like massively awesome bullish day. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying bullish relatively to speaking, how much downward strength there was on Friday. And then as far as supports are concerned, preferably speaking, yeah, if the price could stay up here above that level right there, that would be fantastic. But if the price does break below it, then that's where, again, the must-hold level becomes down there at 420. So like I said, all things considered, I'd say today, nice solid day for the bulls. But yeah, definitely a lot more work needs to be done. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, LXRX. Very, very impressive day today. And as I speak right now, essentially pushing up towards new highs. So in that sense, you can't really talk about playing the breakout because, quite frankly, the breakout's already happened. I mean, the breakout right there, you had a nice little pennant pattern. So the breakout occurred, and as of now, it's in the middle of a breakout. But that does still allow for, and that's, I should note, that's kind of the idea of a watch list, is to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not rush out and randomly buy stuff, but at least watch it. And yeah, in my opinion, at least, good solid breakouts are interesting and worth keeping an eye on, especially if it fits your price range. So if you're somebody that likes stocks down below $5, definitely keep an eye on it. So in this situation, you can't really necessarily play a breakout, but what I'm curious about is how does it behave moving forward relative to this area of resistance right here? Because again, it's still technically speaking slightly above that breakout from these highs from several weeks ago right here, but can it maintain up above 280? That'll be a big question. Now, if the price explodes upwards, it could come back down, back test it, and work its way upwards. That is, certainly a possible scenario, but that's what I'm very curious about, is how does the price behave with that area there? Now, maybe you're thinking it's going to get rejected and you're looking for a pullback point. Then from that angle, I think a very interesting pullback area right there around $2.63, or if you wanted to be even more conservative, see if you could get a pullback down to that area right there. The 200 period moving average out makes sense, especially given the history right there. You can see it did a beautiful job of using that as support after it broke up above there. But anyway, look at it. Good movement today. Good solid breakout. Let's see how the week continues to play out. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. A wild, wild day when you factor in that opening 30 minutes. Started off oh so strong. But what I'm going to do here, now that we have more data, is we have a very apparent now level of resistance where the sellers are very clearly hanging out, and that is essentially right there at the 183 mark. Earlier on, yeah, didn't quite hit it right there, but right there essentially immediately hit it, and right there immediately hit it. So if there is any sort of attempted recovery back upwards, everybody and their brother's uncle is going to be watching that $183 mark as a key area of resistance. And then as far as supports, nothing new here to report. Still all about that 173.50 mark, which I've talked about in past videos. But all things considered, yes, today individually, pretty crazy day given how it shot up and then came back down. However, looking at things from the bigger picture, actually, let me zoom out here just a tad, but there we go. You can see that all things considered, the price is still continuing to just chop in the sideways channel. So yeah, today very dramatic, but bigger picture, yeah, nothing really happened relative to the overall channel, and that remains a big question mark moving forward. Can the price break to the upside of the channel, or the bear is going to win to the downside? That still remains to be seen, but the week is young, so we'll see how things continue to play out. Next one here, PLTR. And what I want to do here, just because I think a lot of people have probably done the same thing, so we can once again draw in or factor in potential self-fulfilling prophecies. But I don't. To me, that seems like a level that a lot of people have probably drawn into place, especially then when you factor in that purple line is essentially mapped out right and aligning right with that area. Granted, that's a 50-period moving average, so that line is going to continue to move, and that aspect will eventually go away. But like I said, just even if you were to ignore the 50-period moving average, I think a lot of people have drawn that trend line, so you can potentially have those self-fulfilling prophecy type angles. And then as far as supports are concerned, you have a downwards movement right here. So let me change that. And, I don't know. You can let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'm trying to fit a square peg through a round hole, and I would 100 respect. So I do think, is this a bull flag? Is that a bull pennant? Am I, like I said, is that nothing and I'm fitting a square peg through a round hole? I don't know. You can let me know down below. But the point here being is those levels definitely are, playing a role right now, and they're going to be important. If you do want to just, not really worry about trend lines and just look for support levels, pullbacks, then you could certainly watch that pink line down there, 200-period moving average if the price breaks down through the bottom part of this trend line. But I would not be shocked at all to see some sort of bounce off that level, so it's worth keeping an eye on here. But overall, PLTR still doing fine with the pullback here. Now, I will say that this looks like a much more realistic pattern right there if you want to look at things from an even bigger standpoint. But overall, like I said, pullback here, but overall the trend is still plenty much in the bull's direction. Next one, NIO. Very, very impressive movement on this one, considering that not that long ago, the price had dropped all the way down there, and now the price is all the way up there. So at the end of the day, it's one of these situations where the price continues to put in these higher lows, it continues to put in these higher highs, and from a trend building perspective, that's what it's all about, and that's what you have here. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these lines out because they've served their purpose for now. And what we have going into the near future, very, very well-defined level of resistance. By no means is that a great discovery. So 625, certainly one of those potential self-fulfilling prophecy points. You can see the price has gotten up there several times right on that area, not been able to quite push through it. And then as far as supports are concerned, I think the most simple way to approach this one, just to watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average. So as time goes by and that line moves itself higher and higher, it's basically going to be a trend line that draws itself for you. So if you want to play some sort of pullback to there, because you like to play that situation, I think that would make the most sense. But overall, very nice trend is currently being built. Very well-defined level up there is resistance at 625. So keep an eye on those key levels. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to go up, this one will also go up. And as of now, which I drew in on Friday, this trend line here is still completely in play. I want to keep that in play. But the level that maybe you'd say, Clay, you're overcomplicating this, just look at the pink line. And that's a fair critique because, yes, check that out. Classic example there of why these moving averages matter. Price gap down below there. Look at that. Immediate rejection. And then the entire day. Just what an annoying level that pink line has become. So a classic example of a support now behaving as resistance. But my point here is that even if you do break above that pink line, I'd be a little leery just because not that far away, you do have a resistance trend line right there. Doesn't mean it can't break above that trend line, but I just want to get too excited, too soon. So definitely keep an eye on that pink line there as the main area of resistance, but also watch that trend line. If the price does break down, then from a support side of things, you'll want to watch that green line down there at the $58 mark. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a second, but for those of you stock traders out there, definitely go get signed up. Thursday, March 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and I hope to see you there for the free live webinar. So one quick clarification here for Bitcoin. Instead of looking at the 30-minute time frame, we're now looking at the 4-hour time frame. So each one of these candlesticks now represents 4 hours worth of time. And as last time I did a video was on Friday, headed to the weekend, will it break to new highs? And it definitely got the break to new highs. So very, very impressive. Bitcoin continues its move. And what I'm getting a little leery about though now is the pattern that we have here. Whoops, there we go. And then let me get the next part of it here. And this is what I would call a rising wedge pattern, which is bearish. So I can see, and I'm thinking Bitcoin is going to need to pull back a little bit here. You combine that with the fact that these candles right here are looking like there's some weakness that's showing up. So I'm calling for a pullback. Now, please, before you start getting all angry in the comments, pullback is not the same as a reversal or a crash. And I'm not even saying it's pulling back to the bottom of the pattern, really. Just because it's been so strong. But given the nature of rising wedge patterns, I think this thing needs to pull back a bit. So that's what I'm going to, I'm thinking is going to happen over the next couple of days. Again, these are 4-hour candles, so it takes a long time for just one of these to establish itself. But that's where I would be at right now in terms of the Bitcoin chart, is there is the rising wedge. So I think a pullback is going to be needed and quite frankly healthy. I mean, here's a healthy pullback, a very nasty pullback, but ultimately turned out to be healthy as that thing has now gone up to even higher highs. So once again, to reiterate, there's nothing wrong with a pullback per se. Now, if pullbacks turn into reversals, that's a different topic, but I'm not making that claim at all. I'm just saying I think that there's going to need to be some sort of pullback. So keep an eye on that dynamic moving forward, and I'll be back to continue to watch Bitcoin, and we'll see how this rising wedge plays out. But that's my current thought right now is Bitcoin, because of this falling wedge, definitely needs a pullback. So just as I invited the stock traders, I want to invite you too as a Bitcoin trader or crypto trader, because what you'll learn about in the class completely pertains to crypto analysis too. So definitely go get signed up for that class later this week, Thursday, March 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you enjoy these videos, hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below. Let me know what your watch list is headed into tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.